Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I was trying to think of like an interesting and witty way to start the show, and then just as I hit the go live button, I whacked my microphone and it fell to the ground. So there you go. That just gives you a little preview into what can happen on a live stream. Anything can go right, wrong, and anywhere in between. But if it is your first time here, my name is Pete, and this is Studio Live today. My goal here on this channel is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And I do that through tips and tricks and tutorials and videos and live streams just like this one. We are going out live on Facebook and YouTube right now. So if you have questions, all you need to do is throw the word question in front of your comment. So if you just put question and then your question, it just means that if I'm flicking through the chat, it makes life a lot easier for me to find the question. And because it is Ask Me Anything, you can ask me anything. So anything that's on your mind about life, the universe, and everything. But clearly, my areas of expertise are more around home and mobile recording. So that's the ones I'm going to be able to answer well. If you ask me about I don't know, the political situation in Canada, I'll probably defer to Metallian and say I don't know. One of my Canadian viewers here. So yes, that is what we're doing here. We'll be talking all things home studio, home recording, mobile recording, GarageBand, iOS, iPhones, iPads, anything in between. I've been thinking about a few things. We will jump in and say good day to the folks here live, but a couple of things that have been on my mind and that people have been talking about lately that I'm going to cover in this because they were asked sort of through the week, and I thought I wanted to rant slash answer questions. So I've got a lot of people this week asking me that a lot of people are getting into home recording and they're like, what do I get? Pete, just tell me, just say, what do I get to get started? If I've got nothing and I've got just an iPhone or an iPad, or even if I don't have an iPhone or iPad yet, what do I use to get started? So I'm going to cover a little bit about that. I'm surprised at the moment, and I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of talk about different DAWs again and who's using what software to record and what the best DAW or digital audio workstation is to record. And a lot of people are spending a lot of time and energy on debating why the one that they think is best is best. And I don't get it. I don't really get it. I'd love to get your views and your opinions on this. Why is that? Why do we spend? And I say we because I've done it before, not too often. Hang on, I need my chair up a bit. Not too often, but sometimes, you get into these sort of conversations and it goes back and forth. The old Windows versus Mac thing, the Android versus iOS thing, and now it seems to be Logic versus Reaper and GarageBand versus Pro. I don't know. Maybe they're not the right ones. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. And I got a great question from viewer Bruce during the week. Why do we dislike our own voice so much when we record it? So when we hear our own voice back, why does it sound different? So I'm hearing my voice right now, and I'm used to it now. So to me, the solution to this is just do it. Rinse and repeat. You will get used to it. It's not as gravelly or bad as you think it may be, or nasally or lispy or whatever your problem is. You will get through it. But yeah, what is it? And do you suffer from this when you listen to yourself, or when you started listening to yourself recorded and playing that back on tape or disc these days, or flash memory, I guess? Do you have that same sort of feeling, that sort of cringy feeling of, oh, I can't listen to this? We'll talk about that a bit during the show as well. But it would not be a live show without live folks here to say hello to. So let's scroll on up and get caught up with who's here live. We have Summer, hello to you. We've got Lucas, who's been here waiting since early on. Lucas was here so early, he was here with 22 minutes left. We've got Jade Star here. RJ Lovely is here. Cleggy has a question, which I'll get to in just a moment. We'll circle back on that one. Hello to you, Adam Matters. Everyone matters. There is Metallian 58. That's who I was referencing when I talked about Canadian politics, because Metallian is up there in Montreal. I've got some more questions. So Jade, yes, helping us out there. Make sure you put question in front there. I'll just say good day to the other folks here. We've got Tom Rochelle. Hello from Malaysia. I do know where that is. Of course I do. Here in Australia, Malaysia is just up there. Never been to Malaysia, but a lot of my friends and family have and say it is a great place to visit. Jack Alsop, hello to you there, my friend. Jeff Brush, I think I said g'day to you. We've got a question there and a question there. Sion is here. He has made it here. RB is here as well. Hi. Hi to you. We've got 50 Proof tuning in from Canada. Dom Thatchin is here tuning in on YouTube as well. I think I've grabbed everyone. If I've missed you, that's fine. We've got plenty of time here. Just settle in. Grab yourself a beverage. I'm on water to start with this week. But grab a beverage. We've got plenty of time to settle in. No rush. But please, if you do have a question, throw a question in front and we'll have a chat. Now, Cleggy, who was here early, just before the show started. Hi, Pete. Here is my question. How are you? I'm well, thank you. I've heard they've eased the lockdown a bit in Australia. Are you and your family safe? Yeah, 100%. So Australia has done a pretty good job, and touch wood, like fingers crossed, all that stuff. At the moment, here in South Australia, where I live, we currently have 0 cases, and we've had 0 cases for about a week and a bit now, and we'd only have 1 case in the last 30 days. And our last active case was cleared, so we've actually got zero in the community at the moment, which is pretty cool. And I know that I don't say that to make other people feel bad, because I know it is still happening around the world, and there's a lot of places that are at the start of their journey or in the middle of their journey. So yeah, hang in there, stay safe and do the right thing. Follow the rules and the guidelines, all the social distancing stuff. But yeah, for me here, it is, and it is nice. I mean, I'm let's be honest, I'm an introvert that loves sitting in my audio cave. So for me, yeah, it's not that different, but I do also love I love going out for walks. So it's been nice to be able to go outside. The playgrounds have reopened, so the kids can go to the playground. And yeah, we're starting to see some of those more group activities. You can sit outside at a cafe and have a coffee now. So things like that are improving. But thanks for the question. And again, I hope everyone in other parts of the world are doing well as well. Question here from Lucas. What's your favorite band? Mine is Metallica. Yeah, good question. I don't know that I have a favorite band as such. It used to be Weezer, a big Weezer fan. Loved Nirvana back in the 90s. Tool are one of the bands that I will always go to. Love me some Radiohead, Pearl Jam, Green Day, The Offspring. Yeah, there's too many to name, as you can probably tell. So no, I don't have one favorite band that I will go to. We'll continue down here. And mine is Metallica. Yes. I do like me some Metallica. I'm not a huge Metallica fan, but yeah, I do like Metallica. The thing was, and we'll talk a little bit about. I want to chat about sort of music and streaming and downloads and stuff. If you've got questions about that, I had a bit of a flashback. I'm doing these happy hour shows on the weekends at the moment, and I did the '90s last week, and I'm doing the 2000s this week. And I realised that a lot of the late '90s, early 2000s songs that I know, I had in my collection because of Napster. And when I thought of Napster, I thought of, oh, dude, what is the name of the Metallica dude? Someone will be able to tell me in the chat. The whole Metallica thing where they didn't like it because people were stealing their music, which, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that debate now. Maybe we can talk about that later. Let's get into some questions, though. Some music questions and some any other questions that you have. We have Jacques. I want to know. I have to do a track out. I want to know. I have to do a track out. I was wondering, since my song is mostly vocal, will I need to take out all the reverb and such, and then isolate it and merge it? So interesting question. So when you're doing a track out, so in terms of exporting or creating a stem of your vocal, it really depends. And I get asked this question quite a bit, which is, when you are exporting stems, do you remove everything? So do you remove all the processing and send it out completely dry, or do you send it out with that reverb, that delay, that effects baked in? And it really depends on what you're getting the other person to do. So if someone's mastering, then you want to just send their final stereo wave file. If someone's mixing, you generally want excuse me, you generally may want to have some effects on there. So things like virtual instruments, where you definitely want the amp simulator, or you want some reverb or some delay or some compression, I would actually export it with that. If someone is doing a complete sort of faders down mix for you, they may want it to be completely clean. So the answer to that question is, depending on the purpose, ask the person you're sending to what you're using it for, and then see whether whether they want it clean or not. Let's scroll on down and we'll see. I'm looking for the word question, but I will say g'day to other folks as we go here, if you are here, and if I haven't said hello to you already. This is doesn't have a question here, but I'll answer it because it's an interesting one. Does your mental health ever affect your production negatively, and how do you deal with it? Yes, and yes, it can be difficult. Absolutely. So, yeah, mental health and being a creator and having is not necessarily synonymous with having some sort of mental health issue, but a lot of us do, and I say us because me too. A lot of us do suffer from it, whether it's suffering from sort of generalized anxiety disorder, suffering from just like full-on depression, bipolar. Like there's a bunch of different things, or even just lacking in the confidence in terms of you're not having that ability, or you're getting shot down by random strangers on the internet when you share your ideas. There's different varying degrees of them. And the first thing I'll say right up front is if you are having struggles, if you're having trouble with mental health, please reach out to an organisation in your area. Here in Australia, Beyond Blue are amazing. So if you are having issues with mental health, reach out to someone. And if there's no one in your immediate family, friends, circle group, reach out to an organisation to help. Let's talk about it in terms of production and music. So yeah, what it tends to do for me is it can do one of two things. Is if I'm feeling anxious, I can channel that into music, and it can actually make me feel better. So if you listen to my music over the last few years, you'll actually be able to gauge how I'm feeling at the time. And the times when there was a while there where I wrote a couple of really loud, angry, rocky punk songs that were really lashing out, and that was because some things were going on, not necessarily for me, but in the world that was really getting me down. So my reaction to that was not to get on forums and fight with people about it. It was to create songs and music that channeled my energy and sort of turned that, I guess, negative energy into something positive, which is hopefully a song I was able to share with people that would go, oh yeah, that's a cool rocky song. So that's kind of phase one of that. If it's going the other way, so sometimes if your mental health can affect your production in that you are struggling to just sort of get anything done, well, that's when you may need to just take a break and to sort of step away at least for a short period of time. So I'm not a fan of the whole hustle culture of just push through it, just keep working, just keep grinding. You can burn yourself out doing that, and you can find that you're not going to do your best work. I've always said, like, the people that come to me and they're like, I'm working 14-hour days by choice. I'm like, I bet you are working at about 60% of your capacity, maybe 50, maybe 40, maybe lower. You may actually get more done working 7 hours at 100%, just crushing it out for 7 hours and then going and playing video games. Like, seriously, there's too many people that think they're being efficient, and same with music production. You think you're getting stuff done because you're just grinding it out, whereas by stepping away from it and doing something different, it would actually help you out. So I know that's some random sort of ideas and concepts there, but yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, to keep track of mental health, because when it comes to music production, it needs to be considered. I'll try to get quicker because the last few weeks we've been here a long time because I spend too much time on each question. So we will try and get through some more questions a little bit quicker today. Hello, my question is regarding GB iPhone. I made a beat composed of 30 different instruments. Is it possible to level, mix, and master it without distortion and clipping? Help me, Pete. Yeah. So the biggest mistake I see folks make is that, yeah, you'll grab your iPhone or your iPad, you'll layer up a bunch of instruments, and when you put each track in, where does it default your volume to? Like right up there, 80% of volume. You need to start bringing the volume down. As soon as you get past 8 tracks or 10 tracks or 12 tracks, if I see a track that's all the way up or even 80% up, I know that you're going to start clipping. You're going to start getting distortion. It's going to start sounding like hot garbage, to be perfectly honest. So the number one tip for this is turn it down. If you just grab every fader and turn it down by like 25%. So if everything's up at 100%, just turn everything to 75. I promise it will instantly sound better. And you'll be like, oh, but Pete, I want it to be pumping and I want it to be a really cool beat. Yes, but everything at that level will just sound messy. It'll sound muddy. It'll sound bad. So my number one tip is start bringing everything down, and do it by bringing the faders down. If your faders are sitting, again, right at the top and you're seeing reds and yellows hitting at the top on every track, it's going to be a mess, I promise. Hopefully that helps you out. Scrolling on down. Battalion, bringing the class. Like a bad case of constipation, it will pass. Yes, this too shall pass. 100%. And why is it not allowed to do leveling of volume while handling EQ and master effects? Not sure about that one. So yeah, maybe ask in a different way. So leveling of volume while handling EQ and master effects. Yeah, not 100% sure on that one. Johnny Vans, hello. 90s rock is awesome. Yes. So my Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Green Day, my love of those sort of bands that I was talking about before. Medallion says, Metallica, love the music, hate the tude. Yeah, that can definitely be a thing. Hello to you, Olivier, who I think is from Costa Rica, if my memory serves me. What is the difference between GarageBand for iPhone, iPad, and versus Mac? This is a good question and one that I do get asked quite often. And I think I'm well overdue for a video on this because the thing is I don't use a Mac. And I probably I'm about to make a decision on my next music related purchase, and it's probably going to be an iPad Pro. For a while there, I was considering a Mac so that I could actually use GarageBand on Mac. I'm thinking I'm going to go iPad Pro. That's just my current view. But yeah, the main differences with a Mac, the Mac has things like the arrangement track. It has master track as well, so you can add master effects on a master track. You can do automation of other things that are outside of volume, and it just has some the parameters on some of the built-in plugins are a lot easier to use because you're on a desktop. So things like the visual EQ, you've got a lot more control over things like the Q settings. In terms of is there anything you can do on the Mac that you can't on the iPad or iPhone? Not really. It just you need some workarounds and some hacks to do some things on the iPhone and the iPad that you don't need on the Mac. Flip side though is obviously you have your touch instruments, your virtual instruments on iPhone and iPad, and you have the Alchemy synth, which you only have if you upgrade to Logic. So you don't get Alchemy on GarageBand for Mac; it's only on GarageBand for iPhone and iPad. So that is pretty cool. Let's continue on here. We got folks helping out, already answering some of the other questions, which is great. The more folks we have here, and the more the community can answer, the less work I have to do. No, the more variety, because I didn't really say it up front in this one, but when I do these Ask Me Anythings, the beautiful part of it is it's not just me, one person, telling you lots of people my view and my opinion and my answer. There's other people here within the chat, and even if you're watching on the replay, throw your question down in the comments because I'm always down there. Other people from the community are down there, and we will answer as many questions as we can if you throw those down there. I did see another question. Once again, if you pop question in front of it, just makes it easier for me to find it, as has RB done here. What are your favorite bass sounds to use on GarageBand? An interesting question. So I was just thinking about this morning, actually, because someone asked a question which is over on the GarageBand users Facebook group. So just search GarageBand users on Facebook, join the GarageBand users Facebook group. It's very, very cool. And I was actually, they asked the question, what's your favorite pack? So in GarageBand, you've got these sound libraries, these additional sound packs that you can download. And Patrick from the GarageBand Guide said it was Prismatica. And I had to agree, just because some of those cool sort of disco bass sounds that are in that pack are pretty cool. If you're doing a beat, then yeah, using that. The Skyline Heat is cool for hip hop beats. There's some good bass sounds in there. Because I record a lot of singer-songwriter and a lot of actual sort of rock and folky type music, I don't tend to use the virtual bass sounds within GarageBand. I tend to record in my own bass. But when I am using a bass sound, like a virtual bass sound, I'll generally grab the Liverpool bass. That seems to be the one that works best for my music. And then if I do want to use that instead of re-record it, I'll use a trick where you can actually throw that over into your amp sim. And the Bass Amp Boutique, this one here, has some really cool amp sounds in there. It's got 30 different bass amp effect sounds. So it's basically just, it's preset, oh, can't see it there. It's presets for the plugins for the bass amps in GarageBand. But if you are using bass, even if you're using electronic bass, you can actually save that out, merge it down to an audio track, and then throw it onto an amp simulator, and you can get some really funky sounds. So that's another tip I would give you there if you're doing bass stuff in GarageBand. Sion, I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. Yeah, you heard that right. You know what? I went the journey with Taylor Swift. I didn't like her at all, mostly because of what was portrayed of her in the media and her attitude. And then I realized that I was basically making the mistake that I think others make, which is thinking that everything that's reported in the media is 100%, and it's definitely not scripted, constructed, and manipulated. Don't worry, I'm not saying everything's fake news, and I'm not saying that the media always reports things wrong, but yeah, they can definitely manipulate things to make things sound differently. And then and RB likes Taylor Swift too. Yeah, there's a song that she put out a couple of years ago, and spoiler alert, but in the 2010s happy hour I'm actually doing a cover of it. So go figure. There'll be some Taylor Swift here on the channel, believe it or not. Hi there, DJ Earth Beats. I hope you are doing well there, my friend. We'll keep scrolling on down because I'm already about 10 minutes behind on the chat. I know. This happens every week. It happens every week. Pete Smith, hello, Adelaide represent. Excellent. Good to have you on board. Have you found any MIDI controllers that can trigger the columns in GB iOS live loops? No. And I have played around with this, but not in any detail. So here's the problem. In GarageBand iOS, you have the live loops grid, right? And it's set up to be kind of like if you've used Ableton before, or if you've used one of those, what are those grids called that you have the pads with the things? You can tell I use this stuff a lot. If you have things like that, then you can sort of trigger the different samples and sounds, and you can use those on-off buttons like your pads to just hit them in and out. There's none of those controllers actually work with GarageBand. So I guess because GarageBand is a touch screen, it thinks, well, you don't really need to support anything like that. So the short answer is no, Pete. I haven't found anything like that. But if anyone else has any ideas, I've tried MIDI drums. So I've got an Alesis mesh kit upstairs, and I've tried my M Audio, my little Korg little controller over there. None of them seem to work. So if anyone else has any ideas, throw them here in the chat. Hello to you, Johnny Vans. I ordered my new SE today because A13 for $2.99. Are you jealous? Just kidding. I am jealous, actually. And to be honest, if I didn't have the 10S, which is still doing me fine, it's still okay. I'm still rocking that. I would probably get an SE2 because it is such a cool, like, yeah, to have an A13 chip in basically an iPhone 7 or iPhone 8 form factor is just ridiculous. It's super cool. Like it literally looks like this. It's this form factor, but it's rocking an iPhone 11 Pro guts. Like that's ridiculous. And yeah, starting at like super cheap. Here in Australia, it starts at $750 or something. So I can't justify buying one unless it's replacing my iPhone 10s. And the 10s, even though I don't like the screen size, it does do good things. Question from Eyes Israel. When recording with iPad and an audio interface, is the quality the best? When recording with iPad with an audio interface, is the quality the best? Yes, it is. So basically, here's how it breaks down. I'll make this as simple as possible. If you plug in an audio interface, my audio interface is plugged into my mixer over here, so I'll just unplug it. So if you plug an audio interface, what this is doing is it's taking analog signals and it's turning them into a digital USB signal. Now, the thing that confuses folks is that they think that the software or the hardware that you plug this into has a significant impact on the quality you're getting, whereas it doesn't. It is all about the source. So what this is doing is it's taking your analog audio and it's exporting it as a digital signal, as ones and zeros, as computer code. So as soon as you plug this into USB, whether it's going into an iPhone, an iPad, a Mac, a PC, whatever, it's still just sending that digital signal. So the important thing is when you're plugging microphones and guitars and analog gear in is not where it's going and what you're doing at that end. It's the front end. It's the mic, it's the preamp, it's the converter in your audio interface. So for this, for instance, this can go up to 192 kilohertz and 32-bit bit rate. So if you're using a Mac or a PC, you can actually set your DAW to that. In iOS, or at least in GarageBand, the maximum is 44.1 kilohertz and 24-bit audio, which is what everyone uses. To give you an idea, CD quality is 44.1 16-bit. So you're already recording at higher than CD quality if you're recording with the default sampling rate and bit rate on an audio interface. So yeah, the short version of that is it's less about the software you're using. It's less about the hardware even you're plugging into. It's all about the source. Whatever's converting your analog to digital is what's creating the quality. Hope that helps you out. Question from Tom Rochelle. I'll have a quick drink while I read this one. Do you know any stereo line to USB adapters that would allow me to connect a keyboard sampler synth to record? Already have an interface but want to avoid unplugging everything. So already have an interface. So, I mean, the short answer to this is to use an interface that has a stereo input. So something like a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, a Steinberg UR22. By the way, all of these, I've got to put the plug in. All of these are over at studiolivetoday.com/gear. So if you're watching and you're in the market for picking up some audio gear for your home or mobile studio, if you head over to studiolivetoday.com/gear, you'll find all the gear that I recommend and use over there. But to come back, off you go. Come back to this question. Boom. Yeah, the other options that you have, there's a cool little device that I use if you just want stereo in and out. Let's see if I can find it here. I'm going to bring it up on my screen just so that I can actually show you what we're talking about here. But it's a little device by Behringer called the U-Control UCA 222. So if let's just search for it over here. They've been out of stock pretty much everywhere for a while. And in fact, yes, it's out of stock right now here on Amazon, but I'll show it to you anyway so you can see what it is. And you might be able to find one on eBay or somewhere else. Let's just bring my screen up over here. Throw this over like so, and I'll just pop your question down for a moment. So this is the little device. So what it does is it's got USB on one end. We can see here it's got USB on one end, and then it's got stereo RCA in and stereo RCA out, as well as a digital input and a headphone jack. So it's kind of like a mini version of an interface. No preamp, no ability to plug in guitars or sort of TRS or TS connections. But if you've got gear like DJ controllers, like other audio gear, anything that has an RCA and unbalanced, those red and white unbalanced outputs, this is a great little unit. So whether you're using a Mac or a PC, you can plug it directly in via USB. And of course, if you're using your iPhone or iPad, you can grab your Lightning to USB 3 adapter and plug it into your iPhone or iPad. And in fact, I've got one of these and I'm test driving it at the moment because what I'm doing is, and I've been teasing this for a while and I promise I'll actually do it next week. I've been going through my old cassettes, like the old tapes, like physical tapes of my band and a few other things. And I've been digitizing them. I've been recording those onto my iPhone in GarageBand and in other apps using firstly a USB tape player, like one of those sort of third-party ones, but also using this device because I've got a tape player and anything that exports at RCA, so anything that's like a stereo unbalanced signal, you can plug straight into this sucker and you can record. So yeah, UCA 222 if you're in the market for something like that. And there doesn't have the price there, but I think I picked mine up for around $50. So they're a lot cheaper than a full-on interface, but they're very handy. They'll do the job for you. If you are watching here live and you've put a question in, I'll just give you a note, I'm about 10 minutes behind on the chat. So I will catch up, but we are a little bit behind. So I apologize in advance for missing stuff. And if you put question in front of your question, it'll mean I get to it a lot better. A lot easier because I'll be able to see it. Thank you. Thank you from Anbanan. Yes, Sion has helped out as well. If you're here live, you get the benefit of having Jade Star, Sion, Metallian, a bunch of the regulars who are super informed on this stuff as well. Question from Patrick Parker Music. Hello to you, my friend. I don't think I've seen you around the channel, so welcome. Good to have you on board. Do you use studio monitors to mix and master? I do, but I use headphones an awful lot because I do a lot of mobile music creation. Sometimes I'm literally mixing while I walk around, or I'm mixing in a different room, or I'm mixing somewhere else. So my headphones, my Sennheiser HD280 Pros, kind of go with me wherever I am. And the beauty part is that they can plug into a 3.5mm or a quarter inch. And yeah, they are just nice flat responses. And I know them like the back of my hand. So I can use these to mix, and I know what they'll sound like. I know how mixes will translate generally from headphones into speakers. I do, however, have a couple of speakers. I use very old KRK Rocket 4s, actually. These are the old 3G Rocket 4s. They rarely even sell them anymore. And I probably, if I did a lot more mixing, if I did a lot less sort of creation and video creation like this, and I was being a full-time mixer and I was just mixing other people's music, I would probably upgrade my monitors because they're not super big. They're good for what they are. So the Rocket range, the KRK Rocket range are good, but I'd probably update to some of the fourth generation Rocket 5s or 6s if I wanted to. But yeah, monitor speakers, I would put them not last, but pretty low down the list. If someone comes to me and says, Pete, I'm setting up to record in my own music in a home studio, what do I need? I say audio interface and microphone. They are literally 1 and 2 because if you're creating any sort of live or acoustic music, they're the things you need. If you're creating electronic music, it's a MIDI keyboard. That's just going to take your production because you can play drums on it, you can add melodies, you can play keys. That's going to be your production thing. Headphones is next. So making sure that you have a set of studio headphones that you can use, closed back headphones like this, that always comes in. So they're kind of the 4 pieces of gear. Studio monitors are probably that 5th or 6th piece of gear that you can get that's almost optional because Of course, you can always mix on your headphones and then take it. So you can translate your mix by taking it to the car, taking it to the home stereo, the home theater, the Bluetooth speaker, playing it on your iPhone, and that's going to help you out as well. So, yeah, that was a long way to answer that. Do I use them? Yes, I do. Do I use them all the time for every project? No, I do rely pretty heavily on the cans. Question here. Would you be able to do a video on how EQ works? I have done a few EQ videos, so let me just see if I can find one. So EQ, to explain it, EQ, a lot of people overcomplicate EQ, but what EQ is equalization, and it is a volume control for different frequencies. So if you think of how volume control works, you turn it down, the audio level goes down. You turn it up, the audio level goes up. All an EQ does is it divides the signal into 3 or 5 or however many bands, little strips, and then you're turning that strip of sound up or down. So if you want more bass, you turn the bass of the EQ up. If you want to cut the bass, you turn the bass EQ down. Want more treble? Turn it up. Want less? Turn it down. It really is as simple as that. And I was looking for some videos. So let's see if I search, what I suggest is just search Pete Johns EQ or Pete Johns and whatever you're looking for, and that can usually help you find what you need. And if we jump over here, this one here, it's specific to GarageBand, but I also go through a little bit about what EQ is and what each one does, so you can take a look at that. And I think there's some other ones. This one's probably good, EQing a complete song. So there's different EQ related videos there that you can do. And if you want the really quick version, part of my 2-minute tip series there is using EQ in your music. And that's the very first 2-minute tip that I did, was all about EQ. So you can jump over and check out those videos, which are already over on the channel if you would like to find out more. We'll scroll on down and see who else has got a question for you. Hello, Thomas Tofu. Love the name. Very cool. I was subbed to you from one of your tutorials. Well, thank you. I hope you got value out of whatever it was that you found my tutorial on. A lot of folks seem to be that way at the moment. I've got a bit left field tutorials that people find me. So I've got one that shows how to clean out. If you've ever got connection problems with your lightning port or your USB port or your headphone jack, a toothpick. And yes, the video could just basically be going, use a toothpick, but I explain why it works, what the problems it can solve are. So anything where you're getting that sort of where it's like connecting, unconnecting, connecting, unconnecting, or you're plugging in your headphones and they're showing up and then they're going away or whatever, toothpick in there, gentle scraping, not hard, don't use anything metallic, you're going to be good. Anyway, that was a very, very sideways step there. Question from Sion. Is there any value in buying hardware synths if an iPhone can do the same? E.g., the Behringer Monopoly versus the Korg Monopoly. 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 I know. Well, when I get into mono and poly, Monopoly comes out, and it's like mono synths and poly synths. It just basically means that one sound versus many sounds. But yeah, Monopoly. I clearly need some caffeine. I'm on the iced coffee today. So what do I think? Well, this is a really interesting question, and it kind of comes down to the whole in the box, out of the box question. So by in the box, what we mean is doing everything using software, and out of the box means everything using hardware. And what most people do is something in between. So obviously out of the box includes things like audio interfaces, because it's very hard to create a microphone or a guitar sound in the box. However, what we used to do was any compressors or EQs or reverbs or delays were literally a separate box that you would plug through as an effect send, and then you would put that into your actual recording. So you would record live in with those things, and then that would be baked into your track. You can also do things like mixing with outboard gear, where you put it into your mixer or your interface, and then you add it in post with mixing. But instead of it being a plugin in your software, it's actually a piece of hardware. And it's weird because when we started using software plugins and software synths, we had to explain, or I had to learn, that the software was just emulating the hardware. Now we're so far down the rabbit hole that most people use software stuff, and we have to explain that that EQ and that compressor and that reverb and that delay plugin is actually all based on an actual real hardware unit. So yeah, it's a little bit different and weird, isn't it? That we've gone this full circle all the way back to, oh yeah, we're doing this. In terms of what I think, use what works for you. I don't have a lot of outboard gear. I don't use anything. I don't use any outboard synths or hardware gear apart from my piano. If I want a piano sound, sometimes I'll do that. And I'm just trying to think, obviously, microphones and guitars. Outside of that, everything's in the box. And I've never been a big synth guy. And when I do use a synth, like you say, the apps are so good these days, and they are such good modeling of the original analog gear that I'm not really big on the analog stuff. So, but yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. If you're watching here live or on the replay, do you use any outboard gear? Do you use any external synths or external gear when you're recording? Would love to hear from you. Question here from Anthony Brown. Is there a way to speed up or slow down audio wave samples in GarageBand iOS? I get this asked this so much that I should have a video by now. It's one of the few things I don't because I haven't found the perfect solution. You can't. Short version is you can't. There's a few apps. So Jade Star, who's here on the stream, recommends an app called EG Pulse, which you can use to do this with. It's a drum sampling or a sampling kind of app, but it works. There's another app called AnyTune where you can take a sample and tune it up and down. And there is a app called WavePad. This one here, WavePad, which can actually do changes to speed and pitch without impacting other parts of the sound. So all of those are paid apps. I'm still searching for that one killer app that's actually going to do this without you having to pay for it. So watch this space, because when I find one, you better believe I'll be making a video about it. Let's continue on, because we do have more questions here on the show. Oof. I'm way behind. We're going to have to speed up here, folks. Get ready. Get ready for it. Question: do you use studio monitors to mix and master your? Oh, sorry, we've already done that. Yes, KRK Rocket 4s. We've got to that one eventually. Sorry, I was probably so slow that you had to ask the question again. That's fine. Darren said you said one latest update for iOS that mouse support is a little finicky. Is it worth updating from the previous version? It's a good question. I would say generally no, only because I've been using my iPad Air 2, which isn't updated, and I'm finding that the mouse support's much better. So I'm recording my EP at the moment in a live stream series that you may have seen during the week, and I was using the older version of the mouse support, and it was working much better. So yeah, I would go with no for that one. Yeah, it depends though. I think it will get better, and I think once I get used to it, it'll be better. But I do need to do a video, hopefully in the next week, about the mouse support and about exactly what's working for it, so that I can get used to it. That would be cool. Let's scroll on down. I've got a question here from Jim Sutherland. I hope you're doing well, Jim. Know if any bass loops or virtual bass for Rockabilly slap bass with that clickety rhythm sound? So short version is no, definitely not in GarageBand. There are some cool. I use a website called freesound.org. Let's just show you real quick, because I like putting myself on the spot and trying something. Just after I said, hey, I should speed up, and now I'm going to jump over and show something. Oh, I've just removed it from the stream. There we go. We'll add that back in. So freesound.org is very cool. You can search for sounds here. You can find different things. So if we search for what we wanting, a Rockabilly slap bass. So let's just search for Rockabilly, because that might be an interesting one. We'll see if there's any Rockabilly sounds here in freesound.org. Surfing up and down, roll the sea, jungle. Yeah, so that doesn't sound like there's too many sort of bass sounds there. More sort of surf rock sounds. But if we go like slap bass with that sort of sound, let's see what we've got here. So that slap rotary organ bass. Let's try this slap bass riff, shall we? So this is from a slap bass riff played on my Ibanez guitar. We can come in here and we can sample it. Let's just turn the volume down so it doesn't blow our ears off. Probably not the slap bass you're looking for. So that is one of your options there. We will just remove that. I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute, because I could see it impacting the performance with the screen sharing on the video there. The other thing you can do is use the upright bass. The upright bass is a bit of a hidden gem here in GarageBand. If you go in, you can find it by going in through keyboards and then other, and then go to upright bass. Let me just make sure that that is in fact the case. The case with the bass. I believe that is the case. We'll go keyboards, other, and I think it's just called upright bass. Yep, upright. So keyboards, other, upright. And the harder you hit it, you do kind of start getting that sort of percussive, slappy sound. So play around with that, freesound.org, to try and find some loops or samples. Use the upright bass to see if that's going to work for ya. Sion has the old SE with the headphone jack. Yeah, still a very, very capable little phone, by the way. The old iPhone SE. 50 Proof says, can you actually do home recording with GarageBand and video editing with iMovie on something with a screen as small as an SE? Good question. So, and that's the one thing that the reason that I haven't gone from this to this is just that little bit of extra screen size. So you can't really see it when you look at it that way. But when we turn it around, you can see that we've got quite a different amount of screen real estate on this compared to this. And this isn't even the max. So I do all my video editing on LumaFusion on my iPhone XS. So that's my one concern, is going to something like this. Even though the processing power will probably be quicker for rendering and for all the stuff that I do with my audio and video, it's probably the screen size might be the one downside. But maybe in the future, I can buy one and test it out and give it a go. Craig Taylor, hello to you. Can I ask any? Ask any question? Yeah. So ask me anything. You can ask anything. I do get to choose whether I answer it, but I'm pretty thick-skinned. So unless it's why does your music suck, that might be a hard one to answer. But I'd give it a go. I'd try to defend myself. Question: what do you think about the new SSL2 Plus? I'm not aware of it. So SSL2 Plus, SSL2 Plus. Let's have a look. I haven't been playing with it. Logic SSL2 USB, or yeah. So I haven't played with it. It's probably because I sort of focus in. So this is it's a $500 interface here in Australia. So I think it's probably about $250, $300. Obviously SSL, solid state logic, they made all the big, like they're well known for making really high quality mixes. Like back in the day, it was an SSL console that a lot of the big studios had. So yeah, I'd be interested. I haven't even actually looked at any of the reviews. A lot of people ask me about the Moto as well, the Moto M2 and the SSL2 Plus. I haven't had enough time to look at them, to be honest. There are so many different interfaces at the moment that I'm kind of not keeping up. So I'll take that one on notice. I'll do some research and take a look at what it has on offer. But I mean, yeah, the quality from SSL is going to be good, right? You're going to have good quality preamps. You're going to have good quality converters. I don't think you could go very far wrong if you wanted to invest that amount of money in your audio interface. Alrighty. We will continue on here. Oh, Metallion's just got some PreSonus Eris 3.5. Can't wait to try them. Yeah, I've heard that if you are in the market for some good, low cost, not low cost, but like good performing budget speakers, the PreSonus Eris 3.5s are really good. I'll bring them up here. Oh, I don't have them on my gear guide because I make a point to. I have heard that they're good, and if Metallion says they're good, I'll probably put them on here. But I make sure that until either me or someone that I trust has actually used them effectively in their home or mobile studio, I don't actually put them there. But I have looked at these, and I've recommended folks get hold of them in the past. Now we'll share my screen again at the risk of dropping the performance of my camera here. So they look like this. Nice looking little studio shelf monitors, and I think they're around $100 a pair usually. They're only 9 left in stock, but there's no price on them at the moment here. Oh well, but yeah, you can get them in the different sizes. But yeah, you can see they're 4.5 stars. And when you look at a rating here on Amazon, and it shows that, look down here at the 5s and the 4s, and the lower volume of 3s and 2s, the better. I almost ignore the 1s. The reason being that people that rate things 1 usually have bought something where they expect one thing and they've got another. So for instance, the iRig Pro IO, in fact, let's just do a quick test run here and I'll see if this is going to prove me right. I think it was this that I was looking at the other day. So I actually really like the iRig Pro IO. I know different people have different views on audio interfaces. It's so out of stock that it's not even showing up anymore. Great. It's going to prove my point. It's not going to prove my point. Anyway, let's just randomly grab this Focusrite Scarlett Solo. We'll see. We'll come in here to the ratings. Click on that one. Yeah, low number of 1-star ratings. Everything's in the 5 and 4s, and even people that don't like it are in 3s and 2s. I find that the 1-star ratings are just don't worry about them, because again, when you read them, a lot of people then say, oh, I thought it was going to be like high fidelity. Like they're comparing $100 device to $1,000 device and then wondering why it's not delivering. So you got to be careful of people's expectations. If something's got 1-star reviews, go and read those reviews. All right. Tom Rochelle says that was exactly what I was looking for. I'll keep an eye out. I have my mic and guitar hooked up to my interface and levels set, and I hate to mess up to start recording keys. Yeah. So going back, that was talking about the Behringer U Control UCA 222. Very cool little mini interface. Question here from Aranob. How to upload music video to YouTube channel, and also the same thing on DistroKid. How I link the video or my channel so I can get YouTube traffic. So there's a long answer to this, which I probably don't have time for here today. But the short answer is that the way DistroKid works is it creates, when you've released your first song, your song gets uploaded to YouTube Music, which puts your album cover and a video of just the song and your album cover onto YouTube. Now, it'll normally put that on a various artists' topic channel. So the topic channel is basically just for playing the music. Then once you've released multiple songs, it creates your topic channel. So if you go to YouTube and you search Pete John's Topic or my other band Fear Cut Topic, it will bring up that topic channel. Now, there is a way that you can then take your topic channel and create an artist channel. So what I would suggest, I haven't done this because what I do on this channel is not really about my music. I mean, it is, I am Pete Johns and I do put my music on this channel, but it's probably 90% about this, about helping others create music, and only 10% about my music, except this month where I'm creating an EP. But even that is the purpose of helping others. So short version is go and search for YouTube artist profile, and then there'll be a bunch of articles there from Google and from others that tell you how to take your releases that you've got, so the actual music you're releasing, and as long as it's in a unique name and there's a topic channel that's created on YouTube, you can make that your own. You can own that channel as an artist channel. So hopefully that helps you out. Joe Gamlin, hello to you. Is there a certain technique for recording you use? Yeah, a lot of techniques I use for recording, and I would take a dig around the channel, to be honest, or tune in this month, because I'm recording, mixing, mastering, and releasing an EP in May, or by the 3rd of June. So if you catch up on some of those videos, you'll definitely find some stuff that should help you, or at least see the way that I actually approach recording. Solarack M7, my buddy Carlito, quick question. If you send a few MIDI tracks, do you think you're able to delete some notes for me and also automate an audio track for me? VoiceOver is not compatible with automation. Yeah, so I think you emailed me about this. I would also jump over, if you're on the GarageBand users Facebook group, there's a lot of really, really good people over there, and I'm sure someone would be able to help you just do some of that fine tuning on your MIDI tracks. I know there's a heap of people there that love helping people out, so hopefully. Alrighty, we'll scroll down. Yeah, I was having some buffering issue before, which is when I was sharing my screen. In fact, let's remove my screen and stop sharing, because it keeps the screen sharing in the background, and then it like chops and changes a little bit. So hopefully it has improved, but let me know. Ask Jay says, relaxing to hear your voice. Well, thank you. Who is it? It was Happy Ron that said I should do ASMR. Is that the right? I got to get the letters in the right order, or it's probably going to mean something really offensive. But that thing where you whisper into microphones, yeah, like that. Another question here about YouTube stuff. So, how to promote your YouTube channel and get more traffic, and what type of YouTube channel account should I make to connect it to DistroKid so I can get my channel verified? So I think I answered most of that in the previous one. In terms of getting traffic and getting viewers on your YouTube channel, basically provide value. Create often, create valuable content, and focus in on what it is that you think people would want to see. So I think the biggest mistake I see folks make, if they want to promote and they want to release and they want to engage with people, is they think more about what they want to put out, not what people want to actually receive. And as I've always said, it is YouTube, it is not MeTube. So if you keep that mindset in mind, it can definitely help you out. Alrighty, scrolling on down. I'm way behind the chat. We're going to try and catch up. If you have asked a question, please, try not to ask it a bunch of times, because I'm finding ones that I've already asked, but I'm a little bit behind on the questions. So we're about 10 or 15 minutes behind if you've asked a question. I'm going to keep scrolling or strolling down. Scrolling. An answer here. Answer: Audio Stretch Lite is a free app that allows you to speed up and slow down sounds up to 2 minutes and three semitones up and down. DJ Pro allows you to find the key of a sample. There you go. Audio Stretch Lite, folks. You heard it here first. You know what I'm going to do? This is my way of taking notes when I'm here on a live show, so that I can so that I can remember to come back and check that out. I'm going to take a photo. That's what I do. That's how I roll. So when I'm out and about and I've got an idea or something that sort of sparks me, I'm like taking photos, and then I review the photos on my phone and go, oh, what's that? Alrighty. Jade says apparently there's a new app by the guy who made EG Pulse that does time stretching. Well, there you go. You're gonna have to tell me more about that too. It's funny because I did mention, I won't take credit, but when I first spoke to the creator, I can't remember his name, the gentleman, but the creator of EG Pulse, because he was kind enough to give me a copy. I still haven't had time to look into it properly. I did say, yeah, I'm really keen for this because this is the number one question I get from folks. How do I stretch? How do I change a sound or a sample to do that? Question from Mr. Tim Osborne. Hello, Tim. Hope you're doing well. Tim shared a song with me during the week, which was outstanding. Really good. Was it your first effort in GarageBand? I can't remember, but it was really, really good. Anyway, how do you get a video done by Visibel on your iPad to Facebook or YouTube? Cheers. So Visibel is a very cool visualizer app that's for your iPhone or your iPad. And the way to get it from your iPhone or iPad to YouTube is to export it. And what it does is it saves it to your camera roll. I don't have my iPad. It's over there. I don't have it handy. But when you go into Visibel or Visibel, I think it's Visibel. I say Visibel. When you go into Visibel, what you do is you put in your song, you put in your album artwork, you put in any visualization, any pictures you want for the background. You then sort of tweak it and create it and make it look like you want it to. And then there's an export function. The export function will do its thing. It takes a while to render down. And then at the end, it says, what do you want to do with this? Hit the save to your photos, or save to camera roll, I think it might be called, and then that just saves the video directly to your camera roll. All you need to do then is go to the YouTube app. You can't see it, but you go to the YouTube app on your iPhone or your iPad, tap on the little video camera icon, and then you're away. You can start releasing your music that way. So release your video directly to your channel. So hopefully that helps. Hello, Thomas Gallane. What is up with you, my friend? Hope you are doing well. Rage is late to the party. Yes, and I'm probably late to say good day to you because I am behind on this. Now, Aranob was asking about reggae, which I must have missed. Dan Baker has a video about doing reggae. He sure does. Dan Baker. By the way, congratulations to Dan Baker. If you're not a follower of his, Jade will probably grab his channel and put it on in the thing here if she's still around. Dan Baker does some amazing work with GarageBand, with iPhone and iPad, and with music creation in general. He's a musical genius, and his channel has just passed 20,000 subscribers. So congratulations, Dan. If you are not familiar with Dan and his work, search Dan Baker. I think it's Dan Baker 74 on YouTube, and subscribe to him and watch his stuff. It is awesome. Hello to Jim Sutherland. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for being here. Hello, Aran. Shout out to all. Shout out to you, my friend. Good to have you here on board. Thomas says, I recently learned about ear fatigue. Do you sometimes let songs go for a while and then get back to with fresh ears? I certainly do. And we touched on this really briefly at the start of the show around mental health and music. And the same thing goes for physical fatigue and health and music. So the amount of times, and someone will go against me here and say, no, you just got to push through. But for me personally, my opinion is that when I'm trying to push myself too far, and say it's late at night, say it's 10 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I really want to get this drum part out. And I just try and do it. And I spend 10 till 2 a.m. creating this drum part. Because again, I'm fatigued, my ears, I'm not hearing things well. I wake up in the morning and I play it back and I go, what is this hot garbage? Like honestly, I struggle to go, what was I even thinking when I created this? Whereas if I just go to bed, get a good 8 hours in, get up early, crack into it, I've got fresh ears, I've got a fresh head, I'm able to create, and I find that works better for me. So I absolutely agree. Sometimes you just got to walk away and then take some time and then come back to things. And if you want to keep doing music, that's cool, but do something completely different with music. So I'm blessed in that I have a bunch of different stuff. So at the moment, I'm doing these sort of shows that I do every week. I do my Q&A shows. I'm doing live streams where I'm recording my music. I'm just recording my music as well off camera because sometimes on camera I'm not as good at performing as I am off. And then I'm also doing like answering emails and managing the business side of Studio Live today. So I can actually take a break. So for me, sometimes a break for my ears is sitting and answering an hour of emails. So I'll do that. And then when I come back, my ears are better because I've just been listening to nothing and just punching out emails, and then I can go back to it. So yeah, ear fatigue is real. Be careful with it. Make sure that you do well. Scrolling on down to see. Hello to Sunray. Good to have you here. Absolutely. Peace to all. Keep creating. Keep expressing. Could not agree with you more. There is that GarageBand users Facebook group. Absolutely recommend collaborating, sharing, asking questions. There's a bunch of fabulous folks over there that will be happy to try and help you out. Bubba said, have you ever checked out WavePad? I have the full suite and I'm very happy. I'm glad to hear you say that, Bubba. And I think you might have told me this previously or on an email because I'm thinking that I might go all in on WavePad because I've tried it and it let me do a couple of conversions and it was super simple to do them. But then it said, hey, pay us $10 or you can never do anything again. And I went, I'm just not quite sure yet. So maybe I will upgrade. What was it? It was $14.99. $14.99? Not sure if that's US or Australian. There is a subscription model. Maybe I need to play around with that. If anyone else uses WavePad, Bubba I do trust. So yes, if Bubba says it's good, it probably is. But yes, I do need a solution for that. And maybe it is pay $15 and do this. Question here. I'll have a quick drink and then we'll answer this one. You can have a read of it while we wait. Question here from RB. What is the difference between studio monitors and PA speakers? So, in essence, PA speakers are designed for public announcement. Like that's why they're called PA, public announcing, public broadcasting. So your PA speakers are things that you'll hook up to a mixer or they'll have a mixer built in. You'll put them at your pub, at your gig, at your venue, outdoors if you're busking. And they're designed to make the music sound the best when you are pushing it out to people. So they'll traditionally have probably a little bit of hyped bass to sort of push through. You'll be able to EQ them in and make them sound good for people listening. The difference with studio monitors is they're designed to kind of do the opposite. They're designed to generally sound as flat as possible. So the idea with studio speakers is you want to get an accurate representation of the music. You don't want the bass hyped or the treble hyped. You want it to be flat. Same with the difference between headphones. Studio monitor headphones, again, like the Sennheiser 280 Pro, if you're big into like EDM music and hip hop and stuff, you put these on, you'd be like, dude, where's the bass? I want to go back to my Beats by Dre because they have really hyped bass. These don't. And that's a good thing because you don't want that artificially hyped sound in studio monitors or in studio headphones. But when you are playing back for people to be listening to that final product, you do. Now, that may sound a bit weird because you're like, well, shouldn't you be listening to it like someone would eventually listen to it anyway? Well, yes, but you need to make sure it translates. So you don't want to mix on something that's super hyped because then it may sound terrible on an iPhone speaker, or it may sound terrible on a car stereo, or a Bluetooth speaker, or in mono. So that's some of the reasons why you'd want monitor speakers, monitor headphones if you're in the home studio. Hopefully that helps you out. Hello to Sayan Roy, how to master a voiceover in Pro Tools. I don't use Pro Tools, but in terms of mastering and mastering voice, it really comes down to EQ, compression, and limiting. So they're the things that I would look at is what compression do you have on there? Do you need to tweak the EQ up and down? And then is it at a competitive volume? Do you need to add a limiter to bring up the overall volume? So that's a very short version of that. Shred Post, hello to you. Good to have you here on board. I think I've answered that one from you, Tim, about the Visibel from your iPad to Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, so just export it to your camera roll and then export it from there. You should be good to go. Scrolling on down. Here's a question from Rage 5606. Are GarageBand's installed sounds and loops free from any kind of copyright infringement? What a great question, and it is one that I have answered before. So I'll answer a question by pointing you to a video because that's how I roll. If you actually go here, GarageBand, search my name and GarageBand loops, and GarageBand legal, I think was the keyword that I saw there that would pop it up. I do have a video. Clearly, I have not very labeled it very well because it's called "Are GarageBand Loops Legal?" or something like that. Are GarageBand Loops royalty free? Let's try that. Royalty free. Are GarageBand Loops royalty free? There we go. So look, there are two. You can check out. Oh, that one's. Oh no, that I was going to say that's gone down. No, that's just Patrick's sense of humor there. So there's a cool video there from Patrick over at the GarageBand Guide that you can check out, and there's one there from yours truly, and another one about copyright. So GarageBand, yeah. So and then another one. So there's four videos there from myself and Patrick that should be able to help you out with that question. But the short answer is yes, as you can see there. I with this video, you can see that I've got the yes there. I originally released it, and then people were like, "Clickbait! He didn't even tell you like he needs to do this." And I'm like, "Fine, I'll put yes in the actual title, like on the actual thumbnail, so that people actually know the answer before they go in." Anyway, but thank you for the question. It is indeed a good one. Let's continue on here. A question here from Dom Thatchin. Which I like this sort of stuff. Which is more satisfying, neatly coiled audio cables instantly available, or that moment you finally untangle an untamed spaghetti mess? So I sit on both sides of this very weird fence in that I love organization. I love things like I'll show you what I use here. I always have a roll of this handy, and then I'm going to lie by not having a roll of it handy. No, I do. I use this stuff. This stuff is gold. This is the it's called One Wrap by Velcro. So it's this tape, and it basically just rolls onto itself. So it's nothing fancy. It's just a hook and loop Velcro tape, and you can cut it in half. You can see it's nice and thick. You can cut it in halves. You can cut it to lengths. You can buy a roll of this for about $15, $20, and it changed my world. So all of my cables are now wrapped up. When they're in my drawer, let me just show you. Now, I don't coil my cables properly, especially electronic cables, but if we show you one drawer of cables here, you can see here that this is what we're dealing with. So all of these are wrapped. So I know that if I need a USB cable, like this is my USB stuff, mostly my USB A to B. In fact, they're all USB A to B in there, except this one. A mini USB found its way in there by mistake. But yeah, I like to have all of these ready to go, so that I can grab a cable at a minute's notice. That being said, if you could see down there and over there, when I'm working, I often have cables just everywhere and every which way. And you can tell, let me just show you something that's really, really shameful. Look around here. Like this, this is badly managed cabling because every time this gets a bit loose, instead of unplugging it and tightening it, I kind of just wrap it around itself again, which is kind of a bad idea. So yes. That is the thing. Question here from Shred Post: will you make a tutorial using interface for Android if that's possible? I don't use Android at all, and I do get a lot of questions about Android. Now, are there any YouTube channels? I think what I need to do is I need to find someone who creates music in Android and like pair up with them, because they probably get asked questions about creating in iOS, and I know I sure as heck get asked a lot of questions about Android. And consider, I mean, my channel's not just about iOS, but about 50% of what I do is creating on iOS. So yeah, I don't do it. I don't even own an Android device at the moment. I've owned one Android tablet in my life. I think I've got one of my relatives' old Android phones in a drawer somewhere, like an old Samsung something that's probably ice cream sandwich or jelly pie or something. I don't know. They had weird names. Like I know people criticize Apple for having weird sort of naming conventions. I don't even want to go there with the whole Android thing and all their different versions. Anyway, Wyatt Tomlin, hello. Is your album coming this month? Well, it's going to be. It's going to be finished by the 3rd, Wednesday the 3rd. I'm giving myself 3 weeks. So by Wednesday the 3rd of June is when the album will actually be completed. And you can tune in and watch me do that here on the channel because we will be live pretty much every weekday. I'm kind of getting into this weekday routine where I'm live in the mornings here, weekdays for me, which is going to be the afternoon or the evening. Afternoons if you're in US and Canada, and evenings for those in in Europe and the UK. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel and tune in to those. Jade has come to the party. There is Dan Baker's channel. It was indeed Dan Baker 74. So do jump over there and check that out. Question from Adam Matters. How are you finding the iRig Pro IO? Looks like a good bit of kit for someone like myself who doesn't have a dedicated studio space to keep my equipment set up between recording sessions. Yes, exactly. So that is what I was just talking about before. And I was going to rant about this. So let's jump on a quick rant, shall we? And when I say quick, you know what my quick rants can be like. But let's talk about this because the question, so let's sort of bring it back. And it's basically exactly what Adam's saying here. The question is usually this: Pete, I have a MacBook or a PC laptop or an iPhone or an iPad, and I want to get into home studio recording. I got like a bedroom, I got no space, and I can't just have mixers and audio interfaces lying around all the time because it's a multi-function space. What do I do? So the two key options are, if you want to go with something that's going to be flexible and allow you to do a bunch of stuff, what I would do is I would get an audio interface like the Steinberg UR22C or a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. That's sort of the first thing. And then if you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you will need a Lightning to USB 3 adapter to plug it in. The Steinberg interfaces are good because they have the 5-volt power supply here. So any portable USB battery, any just mini USB to USB brick adapter for your AC power is going to power it up. So they're literally the only two things you would need to be up and running, and then a cable to connect the interface to this, and then you're off to the races. And then you can just plug in your mics, your guitars, your everything into the Steinberg. If you're using something like a Scarlett 2i2 or a different type of interface, you'll need to add in one of these, a powered USB hub to the mix. And I recommend these anyway. So a lot of people are saying, I did a video during the week and a lot of folks have been saying, oh, can't you just plug in, because you've got the Lightning to USB 3, can't you just plug into the Lightning power port there and power up your interface? Yes, it's not quite as reliable. And the beautiful part about this, you can see here, I've got a USB drive there. I've got my mouse and keyboard plugged in there. I've got the interface there, and I've got a port free there. If I want my MIDI keyboard or if I want something else plugged in, I can do that. So that's technique number one. But you're already looking at least 2, possibly 3 pieces of gear. The beautiful part of the iRig Pro IO, do I have it? It's over there. Well, let's see if I can do this without it looking weird. I'll just come over here and grab and knock things down and grab my iRig Pro IO, because I could show it on the screen, but I might as well show it right here. So I'll just I'll pop your question down there for a moment, Adam. So the iRig Pro IO, yeah, I literally keep mine in its box. And I mean, it's not the most convenient place to store it, but yeah, just so that I know where it is and I know where to get to it at any given time, I can just open the box and pop it back out. So here's what it looks like. Who knew you were getting an unboxing video? But here it is, and it just sits in here. So there is it. That's all there is to it. It is nice and hefty because it does have some decent components in there. It's got your, at that end, can we see that? Yep, it's got the microphone and the guitar in. At the other end, this is the proprietary little plug, the little DIN jack that plugs into our cords that I'll show you in a minute. And then next to that, it's got the DC in. So you can actually power this using a separate power adapter. It does run directly from your iPad or your iPhone, but it will start draining the battery pretty quick. On the side here, you've got MIDI in and out for the MIDI cables. You can't quite see there, but there you go. And you've got your 48 volts of phantom power on and off. So I was getting a question from someone saying, can this use like any mic? Well, yeah, it's going to provide 48 volts of phantom power, which is just powered by 2 AA's. So that's got you covered there. And then in the other part of the box here, so in this side is just all the cables. And I keep all the cables in the box here just because they are proprietary. So that's probably the only drawback with this, is as opposed to the other stuff where you know you're just using Lightning and you know you're using USB, these are proprietary cables. That being said, they're pretty standard sort of 5-pin DIN connectors, well, obviously for your MIDI. So you get these two. You get 2 5-pin MIDI to these little 2.5-inch connections. So they're proprietary, but you know you'll be able to find them if you needed to get them. But then here's the good news. In the box, you get the Lightning adapter, so you can plug it directly into your iPhone or iPad with just the one cable, and you get a USB cable. So the beautiful part about this is IK have been really smart. They started making Lightning only stuff, and then they realized, what if Apple stopped making Lightning stuff? So they actually switched that, and unlike Apogee and others who didn't switch, if you buy any modern iRig products, they come with not only the Lightning cable, but a standard USB. Meaning, if you want to plug this in, if you say you upgrade to an iPad Pro, like the new one, the third or fourth generation, all you need to do is convert your USB to USB-C, and you can keep using your exact same piece of kit. If you want to use it with your Mac or your PC, you can just plug and play, and you're off to the races. So, thanks for the question. I did want to rant on that, and I did want to give that value, hopefully valuable information there, because I'm getting that question a lot, and I probably need to do an iRig versus USB interface type video where I do pretty much exactly what I did there. I just took the pros and cons of the two. Now, if you want to get really specific on quality, the reason I keep using the Steinberg is I think the quality of the preamp and the converter in the Steinberg UR22C is slightly better than what you get in the iRig Pro IO, and the overall setup cost is about on par between these two. The other thing to keep in mind is the iRig Pro IO is only a single channel. You can get the Duo, which is the dual channel interface, but this one here is only single channel. So keep that in mind. I'm trying to get the box back together here. I'm a little bit pedantic about this sort of stuff. So that can go back on the shelf. And yeah, if you want to learn more about that, just search my name, Pete Johns, iRig Pro IO. There's a heap of videos where I demo that here on the channel. There you go. This has been Unboxing Hour with Pete Johns. Hope you're doing well. Rightio, we'll keep coming on down. Johnny Van says, do you use any apps specifically for writing? I have pads of paper with all crazy with no chords. I don't remember how to play them. I have to get organized. Johnny Vans, I do. I'm not super happy with what I use, but this is an app, and Microsoft, I believe, have opened up all these apps, all their apps, the Office apps, things like Teams and OneNote. I'm pretty sure you can use these for free now. So investigate that. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But I've been using OneNote for the longest time. It's a Microsoft product, and it's a note-taking app. Now, it's not going to look super organized when I show you this, but I'll bring it up here on the screen anyway. So here's my OneNote, for instance. So down the side here, you can see all the different things I've got. So if we go, so at the moment here, we're in the templates for my YouTube channel. So this is what I put in my YouTube videos. So I've got everything stored in here for all the different shows that I do. So for Home Studio Q&A tomorrow, I've got all the tags. I've got the description that I put into all of those and any notes that I need to make around whatever topic I'm talking about. And then and the beauty part is you can have these organized in cascading folders. So for me, for Pete John's music stuff, if I go to my songwriting section, over here on the right are all the different songs I'm working on. So here at the moment, you'll notice that down the bottom here, actually you won't because you can't see it. Go off there. I'll just turn you off for a minute. Down the bottom there, I've got new EP project, and I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks there. And all I've done is dumped in my notes that I've got here at the moment. So all of my different chords, all of my different lyric ideas, and everything for each of these songs is just stored in here. And the beautiful part about this is that you can use this across platform. So I have the OneNote app on my phone. So here's the thing, I'm out and about and I've got some lyric ideas. I just open up my OneNote, I pop them in there, I get back to the studio, I open up here on my desktop, and those lyrics or those chords or those things are in there. You can snap photos and put them in here. You can do screenshots and put them in here. Yeah, some sort of note-taking app that is in the cloud, I recommend. So you can use Evernote, you can use OneNote, whatever you want to use, just the memos on your iPhone if you want to, but I find something like this is better because it's across the board. It gives you everything that you need. So that is my way. But what's your way? Like if other people are watching here, let me know, and I would love to get your feedback and your opinion. Alrighty, let's see where we are at. I'm gonna have to scroll back up again. Sorry. I know every time I sort of scroll a little bit down, it goes boom, and it takes me right down to the bottom. So we're right back up to there. Yep, there was Adam's question. There was Johnny's question. If you do have questions, then yeah, please throw those in here if you are here live. Jade Star has a pro tip, which is don't spend any more than 15 minutes on mastering or mixing a song. Walk away due to ear fatigue. Very, very good advice. If you're getting too far in, there should probably be a 1 hour rule for live streaming too, right? Maybe you're like, Pete, you shouldn't answer questions for more than 1 hour. You'll get brain fatigue. But yes, Ear fatigue is definitely a real thing, and it's worth just taking a break. Just go have a break anyway. Go have a coffee, go for a walk around the block, go pat the dog, do something. But yeah, don't get yourself too fatigued, or yeah, you're not going to create really good stuff. Scrolling on down, we've talked about Android. Unfortunately, I don't have Android. Here's one question from Abanob. Says, "Can I do auto tune in GarageBand?" You can. So there is pitch control in GarageBand. So let's do the test here. If we search in the YouTube's GarageBand auto tune. We'll see if Patrick and I have videos about this as well. I don't. Oh, there you go. Patrick's number 2. He's got his GarageBand auto tune tutorial. So go and check that one out. Go and watch a Patrick video. It doesn't always have to be about me. Watch this one. If you search GarageBand auto tune, Patrick's got a very neat little tutorial. It's only 7 minutes long. You're going to be able to learn things really quickly and get up and running. If you desperately do want to see my version, just put like Pete Johns in front of this. Let's see what I have. Pete Johns GarageBand auto tune. Yeah, so that's my version, but as usual, Patrick's more efficient than me and better looking in terms of his video production. So go watch Patrick's video. Do that one. Thank you for your question, though. Let's come on back over here. Coming on down. It has slowed down, which is good. So I'm catching up and things are slowing down. So these are all good things. I'll just see if there's other questions. We got people sharing ideas about different things. We've got magnetic hooks going on. I use a lot of the 3M products. Those little 3M hooks are really cool. Yes. Solrak says, "Hey, I love the Audio Stretch app. When I make it really slow, it doesn't sound like those chopped notes audio sound. This is good." Oh, okay. So Solrak may be trying out the Audio Stretch app live here now. Maybe I should do the same. Let me just go to my app store. Hold the line for a moment, please, while I'm just self-indulgently taking a look. But Audio Stretch Lite, there it is. Audio Stretch Lite. So it's the difference. Okay, so Audio Stretch is $14.99 here in Australia to buy. Audio Stretch Lite music transcription tool. This could be exactly what I'm looking for. So the difference here, was it Sion that said this? The Lite version, you can only go 3 semitones. Is that what you were saying? So that's the limitation there. Definitely worth me taking a look at. There you go. It's downloading as we speak. Probably won't show it live here on the channel in this video, but definitely something for me to explore in future ones for sure. Let's keep scrolling. Once again, if you do have questions, just put question in front. But we are looking like we've answered most of the questions here today. So this could be good. We could be coming in towards the end. If you do have more questions, of course, we will be back. We've got home studio Q&A tomorrow, where I answer some of the predetermined questions, the questions I've got on my other videos during the week as well. Adam says, "Thanks for the info on the iRig." Yes. So sorry to those that have zero interest in it, but I'm glad you liked it, Adam. But yeah, it's definitely worth knowing about these things. I say, even if you're not going to use something, at least know about it. Like, at least have visibility, because that was my problem. The reason I bought it and tried it out is I'd never used one, and I wanted to find out if it was right. If it was right for me. Alrighty. Sion says, "Yes, I use OneNote." So also a OneNote user on my iPad, Android Note phone, and my Windows PC. Also Microsoft Lens to scan a ton of my documents. Yeah, I've played around with Microsoft Lens, but I haven't quite got it yet. It's all about the time, isn't it? If I had a bunch of time to just hit pause and like fix up all of my systems, I think things would be a whole lot easier, wouldn't it? Dom Fatchin, thank you. Thanks for the tips. Chat again soon. Good night from Bristol. Yes, for those in the UK and Europe, please go to bed. We're nearly finished up here anyway, but get your beauty rest. Get up tomorrow, jump on it on a Saturday morning, and have a big weekend of recording, because I highly suggest it. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're done. Rage, thank you for being here as well. See you on the next one. Yes, we are going to check out in just a couple of minutes. Didn't do the, I didn't do the what was I calling it? The question. See. Definitely, I've got brain fatigue. We're talking ear fatigue before. I've definitely got brain fatigue. I didn't do the lightning round questions. The last couple of weeks, there's been too many actual questions. I haven't wanted to waste a lot of folks' times by doing that. But let me just check my notes. Back on my OneNote. So yes, I'm looking at my OneNote document now. to check my notes to see if there's anything. So yeah, I'll finish by putting this out here and asking one more time. So if you've made it to the end of the show, what do you think about the question that we had from? So it was from, was it from Bob? No, it was from Bruce. Viewer Bruce had this to say, which was, why is it that when we start recording ourselves and we start hearing, why does our voice sound so different in our head as when we're singing than when we play it back? Do you think it's an actual physical thing? Do you think it's a mental thing? Do you think it's just how we're perceiving it when we're playing it back? Or is there a real genuine difference? Is it the resonance of our skull that it just sounds different? I don't know, because over time, it doesn't sound as different anymore. So the more that I do it, and this is probably the final point I'll go out on here, my tip is to just do it. So I was definitely there. When I started recording my voice way back when on a tape, it was like you play it back and you'd be like, oh, I don't sound like that. That guy sounds really nasally and horrible and then you realize it is what you sound like. But over time, I think you just become accustomed to it and you just get used to the sound of your own voice. And I definitely have done that. And I think it's worthwhile just persevering and pushing through because, like everything in life, you are not going to become more familiar and more comfortable and more accepting unless you actually do things. This could be a bit of a lesson for life in general, I think. But I think the reason that a lot of people are not tolerant or accepting of a lot of things is that they don't have exposure to them. And I know that's the case for me. There are things that I find weird and different and strange simply because I haven't experienced them, simply because I don't understand them. And I'll relate this to I was watching this weird show on Netflix or Hulu or something. I was watching last night. It was like 100 people do regular tasks. And it was people cutting a mango and cutting up carrots, like peeling carrots to make carrot sticks and cutting up avocado. And I remember thinking to myself, I was started judging people. I started saying, who doesn't know how to peel a carrot and chop it into sticks? And there were people saying that I've never eaten a raw carrot, like 40-year-old dudes going, I've never eaten a raw carrot before. And people holding mangoes going, what is this? I'm thinking, that's not their fault. That's just a lack of exposure. They may not have mangoes in their part of the world. They may not have ever liked or had parents who introduced them to fruit and vegetables. It's the same sort of thing. I know it's a long, big, long bow to stretch to draw, but it's the same sort of thing with your music. If you don't do it, you don't get exposed to it. So don't judge yourself harshly and don't judge other people for thinking things are a bit strange and out of their comfort zone because they've never done it before. The more you do something, repeat, rinse, do it again and again, the more confidence you're going to get, the more familiar you're going to get, and things that seem scary and different are just going to be the norm and they're just going to be average and par for the course. So, congratulations. Well done on being average. No, that's probably not the point. But yes, be yourself. I think Sunray says it best when he says, "Be yourself and be authentic." 100%. Thank you everyone for being here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get out there, create and record and release music. I will be back. We'll be back at this time tomorrow for Home Studio Q&A. We also have the happy hour, the noughties, the 2000 to 2010. The happy hour will be happening tomorrow. GarageBand Weekly on Sunday or Monday morning, depending where you are in the world. Head over to studiolivetoday.com. In fact, if you go to studiolivetoday.com/live, you'll get a list of or link to the playlist of all the live shows that we have here on the channel. Don't forget the gear guide. Don't forget the mailing list and all the other things you can do. Just head to studiolivetoday.com to catch up on everything that is going on here on the channel. Thank you for being here, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll chat to you again soon. Take care.